Good afternoon and welcome to Wednesday Bible study on the Wednesday of Ascension Week, the week in which the church celebrates the ascension of Jesus to heaven. Thursday is the specific day, and Sunday, this coming Sunday, of course, is Ascension Sunday. And one of the texts that the church uses is one from Acts 1, which tells the story of Jesus' ascension. He's with his disciples, telling them about the power of the Holy Spirit that is about to come on them. And then the text continues, when Jesus had said this, as they were watching, he was lifted up, and a cloud took him out of their sight. While he was going and they were gazing up toward heaven, suddenly two men in white robes stood by them. They said, "Men of Galilee, why do you stand looking up toward heaven?" Good question for the disciples. Good question for us. Why do we stand looking up toward heaven? Well, primarily, I believe it's because the church has taught us to do that. We celebrate Ascension Week and Ascension Day and Ascension Sunday. And in our creeds every Sunday, we declare that Jesus has ascended into heaven and is seated at the right hand of God the Father Almighty. So the church is responsible for continuing this whole thought process or this notion of the world as it was conceived of in ancient times. And that's a world where God and good is up there, the devil and bad is down there, and we struggle somewhere in between. And if we are good enough, when we die, we'll go up there. And if we're bad enough, when we die, we'll go down there. An ancient understanding of the world, which I don't believe is necessarily appropriate or meaningful for us these days. As a matter of fact, I was looking at a hymn just the other day, Gather Us In, hymn 532. And the beginning of the fourth verse goes like this, and I think speaks to this point. Not in the dark of buildings confining, not in some heaven light years away. Here in this place the new light is shining. Now is the kingdom and now is the day. So that ancient understanding probably served a purpose back in its day when life was nasty, brutal, and short, and pretty much sucked. And the only hope you had was for something better when you died, if you behaved yourself. And I guess that notion still provides comfort for some people in some situations where and when their lives do suck, like possibly in the middle of this pandemic. But again, I don't think it's necessarily useful. I think it's actually outlived its usefulness. As I've said to you before, God is timeless. God has no beginning and no end. But our understanding of God as limited human beings and the articulation of our understanding of God can never be timeless. It needs to be open for consideration and enlightenment and change. And this notion of heaven up there and hell down there and us stuck in this netherland in between, again, doesn't necessarily, I think, serve the purposes of a meaningful theology. Because as this song speaks, and I think speaks truly too, the light that we find shining in our lives and in our hearts that gives us meaning and gives us significance is here and now. The kingdom is now. The day is today. And that's where we find God. We find God in the love that we genuinely know for ourselves, the love that we genuinely know, express, and experience toward others, and the love that we have for our God here in this place, now at this time, a new light is shining that shows us the way. Thank you for your time. Remember to join us on Sunday for worship. And if you're out and about, probably not doing too much out and about given the circumstances, but if you are venturing out for the Memorial Day weekend, I pray that you will travel safely. So again, as we go out into the rest of this week, use your heads, wash your hands, keep the faith, wear your mask when necessary. God bless you, and amen.